Hi, everybody. Jerry Brazee here, and I'm here today. I want to talk to you guys about what you're looking at and buying on YouTube, in particular, real estate and entrepreneurship. My background, bought and sold a dozen businesses. I have companies that have done over $500 million in revenue over the last 20 years, and currently have multiple businesses in real estate and one transportation company with over 100 employees. And so what I see on the internet on a regular basis is bad advice, regular bad advice. And I'm surprised by the number of followers that people get, and I'm surprised by the number of views or hits that these posts get. And so I wanted to, so much so, and I see so much scamming going on, that I thought I would lend my advice, having been through all of these things over the last 25 years and seen just about anything that business has to throw at you. And I thought I would give my advice. And the first one that I came upon was somebody named Kris Krohn. And I don't know Kris Krohn. I don't know his background. I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about him. I don't know if he's lying. I don't know if he's a scam. I don't know if he has the money that he has or just takes pictures in front of really fancy cars and tries to sell it off as something more than he is. I don't have any idea. But he gives out some advice that I think that as entrepreneurs and real estate investors, you should really know what the reality is. So with that said, take a look at this.
If a business doesn't have at least a 50% margin, I usually don't look at it.
What? Whoa. Hold on. What did he just say?
What the hell did you just say?
If the business doesn't have a 50%, I got to play that again.
If a business doesn't have at least a 50% margin, I usually don't look at it.
In business, I think this is either, again, I don't know if he's doing this on purpose or he's doing it on accident, but businesses have two margins. They have a gross margin and they have a net margin. The only number you really care about is the net margin. The net margin is the amount of money left over at the end of the day after all expenses are accounted for. So the gross margin is the cost to actually get business to get something done. What's it cost you to put an employee out there and actually do the work? And then you have what are called SG&A expenses after that. And that will quickly eat up. It's not uncommon for a business to have a 50, 60% gross profit, but once everything is accounted for below the line, below that gross profit line, then that's where the number starts to get real thin. So is he talking about gross profit and net profit? The reason why I stop that and say that here is because watching so many of these videos, the information that you're given, the information that these guys who distribute the information, and they talk very well and they say it very well. It sounds so authoritative and it sounds correct, but you got to be careful. And nobody in business trying to teach you or sell you anything would use just a straight margin word, because you have, like I said, gross margin, and then you have the much harder to earn net margin.
All right, let's talk about these three components of a successful business. The first one is margin. Okay, so your typical average business operates on a 10% margin. And a good business might have a 20% margin, and a poor business might have a 5% margin. Now, one of my rules is if a business doesn't have at least a 50% margin, I usually don't look at it. Why? Because if I have a lot more money, it means a lot of good things come into my world. I don't have.
He's right there, essentially. But let's break this down. Now, I believe he's talking about net margin. If you have a 50% net margin, what he's saying is that every dollar that you earn, for every $1, you're going to get 50 cents. I can tell you unequivocally, those businesses don't exist. When you look at Microsoft or Apple or Facebook or Google, some of the most profitable companies in the world ever in the history of business, these are trillion-dollar valuation companies, and you look at Microsoft's financials, you'll see that they make probably a 35 to 40% net profit. That's an insane number, and it's a number you'll never find in business. Also, at the same time, I've been in business for 25 years. I've known 40 business owners, give or take, in that time. I've worked closely with dozens in that time and intimately with 9 or 10 through a CEO group. Businesses of all types. And I can tell you that the average margin in the average business that you're going to be able to participate in, or I you can, is somewhere between 5 and 10%. That's the successful margin that most businesses operate at. So certainly there are businesses that will break that rule, and certainly there are businesses that will do better. But generally speaking, your margin's going to come in somewhere between 5 and 10%. That's the average. So all the millionaire businessmen that you see, their businesses on average are somewhere between 5 and 10%. Based on my experience with 40 companies, I've bought and sold a dozen of my own, it's somewhere between 5 and 10%.